What's up, guys? Coming at you with another episode of the Movie Mouth. It's Tony here again, and today we're going to be talking about Lake Mungo. Now, I'm sure almost none of you have never even heard of this movie. I hadn't heard of it until just a little while ago. It came out in 2008, directed by Joel Anderson, who was a first-time filmmaker and stars a bunch of Australians that you've never even heard of. It's an independent, extremely low budget Australian horror movie. Um, and it got recommended to me by a few people. It's about a family, a mom and a dad and a son whose daughter mysteriously drowns in a lake while they were out swimming, and then mysterious supernatural things start happening in their house following her death. Um, I mean, I don't really necessarily need to go into spoilers concerning it, but I guess you could just say that the circumstances surrounding her death are a little mysterious and a little, you could say, paranormal. But the movie is filmed in kind of a fake documentary style. Apparently, some people saw this movie and thought it was real and actually had to, do some research online, which kind of gave that Blair Witch vibe to it. I'd never heard of it, but they interview members of the family, neighbors, friends, etc. throughout the movie, but then they show footage. It's really filmed like a documentary. I don't think there's actually any scenes in the movie. Well, there are scenes, but they're all either on cell phone footage or camera footage or interviews in the documentary style. There's no actual traditional scenes in the movie. I think it was well shot and well acted for how low budget it was and for a first time filmmaker. But I had heard a lot of kind of hype after I researched this movie surrounding it, saying it's the scariest, best low budget horror film coming out of Australia, which I hear that all the time. And shoot, you guys have heard me review a horror movie before, and it's always, the independent horror film that's as scary as The Exorcist, like Hereditary was. Um, there's some. This movie doesn't have any jump scares, which I give it credit for because I cannot stand, mainstream Hollywood horror films nowadays that just rely on the jump scare. Um, it has more creepy imagery, but frankly, this movie was a little boring. I don't know if I don't know if that's necessarily because of their low budget, they just couldn't do as much, but I think the storytelling method of the documentary kind of, yeah, I don't know, it kind of made it a little boring. I always compare this to um, the Shining movie and then the Shining book. In the movie, Stanley Kubrick, I think, created a scarier environment by not explaining things. And once you read the book, Stephen King really, in grave detail, explains every reason behind every ghost and every reason behind what is happening. And for me, it doesn't make it as scary. I think the mystery of not knowing makes it scarier, whereas this, they explain everything, and it almost becomes a tragic tale rather than a scary tale. The scariest moment of the movie was the end credit scene, which kind of gave me a little chill, but I mean, I scare easily, and this movie wasn't even that scary to me. I think for the most part it was boring. It wasn't very long, which most horror movies aren't, but it was only like 85 minutes. But for the most part, this movie was kind of boring. So overall, I think if you're a horror fanatic like me, it might be worth a watch, but otherwise you guys could probably skip it. I'd probably give this movie a 5 out of 10. So thanks for listening to another review of the Movie Mouth, and if you want to, if you like what you hear, come back and listen to some more. We have some more reviews on the channel. You can like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Twitter at Nerdy and 30. Thanks, guys. See ya.